僕の底からよみがえる悪魔の化身毒の花戦え僕らのアイアンキング守れ緑のこの大地ショットショットアイアンショット火の中からアイアンキング
Oh, hello everyone. As you can probably tell by the title, we're looking to do the second part of Iron King right now. I just finally finished it a couple days ago, and I've of course had to record all the footage raw because there's no real easy way of getting the footage for this show. It's just awkwardly hard. But I digress. We have to get through this quickly because there are two technically endings to this show that we need to go through. Well, first of all, we continue the misadventures of Gentaro and Goro as they continue to wander about Japan. They continue to fight off the second evil group of tyrants known as the Phantom Militia and their silly turbans. And, well, of course, their giant robot monster-looking things. Most of these tend to look somewhat like dinosaurs, others just look really, really bizarre, like the giant mole here. What were they thinking with this design? Oh well. Well, around this same time, we're also experiencing something else, which is a cliché. What kind of cliché, you're asking? Why the insensitive type? Mostly the one where they constantly have a new girl of the week to make Gentaro's heart throb for that episode, only for them to either end up dead or going off on their own somewhere, or just forgetting about the guys altogether and they never mention these characters again. 1970s for ya. I will also add that the Girl of the Week fad was starting to crop itself up towards the late portion of the first half, but that's also because we had the Phantom Militia starting up at that point. Some of these girls are also related to the Phantom Militia, and their brothers and fathers and so forth get caught in the crossfire. Hence, more death. Wait, that's not a good thing. The Phantom Militia started their face-shaking threats at around episode 10, and were finally finished off around episode 18. During this run of the story, Gentaro is chased after by the Phantom Militia as being the main target for their frustrations, and after a few episodes of trying to get him out, more innocent people who appear for only one episode die. Wow. I felt so sorry for them. Well, at least they had a body count, so we got something new to tally up for this show. Eventually they decide that Iron King himself is quite possibly a bigger threat than Gentaro himself, so they then decide to attack both of them and see if maybe Goro is also somehow linked to Iron King, since he seems to not be around a lot when Iron King's there. You think? Just like Clark Kent and Superman? No, never! Yes! So in a rather nicely done slow motion shot, they actually do shoot Goro in the leg, and when Iron King is needed to help defend Jotaro from being attacked by a giant monster, it seems Iron King has something wrong with his leg. Seriously? Jentaro's not adding two and two together yet about this. Seriously. Getting to the point where you think he might not figure anything out. Well, the Phantom Militia finally figures out about Goro being Iron King when there's only about 2 members left of the main group, and nothing but a bunch of stupid soldiers left after them. They're finished off at the end of episode 18, which also introduces the new threat, the aliens known as Titans! These things look familiar. Give me a moment on this. Aha! That's where they came from! Apparently the British stole the plans for what V for Vendetta looks like. At least they're smart enough to get rid of the cross in the chest. It didn't really add much. But I digress. The aliens are from planet Titan and have human-like forms that look like V for Vendetta. Their hats are the least silliest of all 3 of them, which is saying a lot. These guys not only change to giant forms of themselves, but actually turn into the actual giant monsters, ergo making this the only monsters in the series that are actually living, breathing creatures, and not just robots. But before Jentaro and Goro are left to their own devices to go after the Titan threat, they're brought back to the National Security Organization, which apparently sent them out to fight these terrorist groups in the first place, and are teamed up with a new female character who will replace the fad of New Girl of the Week. They, for some reason, name her Tenko. I don't understand this, but it's probably lost in translation. I can easily chalk it up to that. It's a nickname she's not entirely fond of, that much I do gather. The Phantom Militia and the Titans are both made of wind and fail. There are some good parts, like some of the monsters from the Phantom Militia, but then there are some silly parts, like their hats. They're just silly and they get in the way a lot. And they have some goofy, shiny outfits. But also to this, they also make the third character, Tenko, an actual character. And her character, technically speaking, is constantly making sure that Jentaro and Goro are actually on the mission and not running about goofing off. Which is a task in of itself sometimes. Because let's face it, even as masculine and badass as Jentaro tries to be, he comes off as a kid sometimes too. So he's kind of a mixed bag. But also, there's some more speculation about these Titan aliens, because apparently they have the ability to take over human bodies. Let's see what that looks like! Ew. That doesn't look right. Japan, what were you thinking again? It's almost as bad as the sound effect you decided on for your first monster. Oh god. But I digress. The insect monsters are usually pretty decent, both in appearance and as well as execution, but a lot of it feels like it's borrowed because they seem to have the same forearm effect going on. So it's easy to see that a lot of the body parts were actually recycled and reused in slightly different ways, depending on how they wanted to change things up. But finally, we get to the very end of the series. And what happens towards the end of the series? The second to last episode ends with Goro's mind being taken over. And not just that, the Titans take over Goro's mind, and he still knows how to transform into Iron King, even though the V for Vendetta group here doesn't understand how Iron King came to be on their side. They're just happy to see him in a big black and red cape blowing up buildings. It ends with an ending that would give little children in Japan nightmares for the next week until the next episode finally came out. And the last episode, I might add. Last episode starts off right where we left off. Iron King causing chaos and destruction while the V group stands back and watches the fun. Of course, Gentaro, knowing about Iron King more than most other people, he points out the fact that Iron King's water will run out soon and they can find him and try and capture him. What Gentaro wasn't ready for is the fact that Goro is Iron King, and he finally bleeding realizes this. And so, with a heavy heart, they take him back to the original doctor that gave him the Iron King abilities and ask him to please cut off the ability quite permanently, in fact, because there's no way to temporarily cut it off and then bring it back, apparently. And so, as they're charging this thing up, the V for Vendetta group does something which causes a power surge and quite possibly kills Goro. Gentaro, very, very emotional at this point about all of this, because it was also his idea to stop him from changing to Iron King. Goes out on a rampage on the V for Vendetta group and literally slaughters a whole bunch of the pasty-faced little bastards. And it gets to the point where he needs to be rescued and there's no Iron King. Or is there? It did not actually kill Goro, nor did it stop his ability to transform into Iron King, but actually got rid of the mind control by the V for Vendetta group. So with this in mind, Gentaro is saved. They finally defeat the big bad, while also explaining that not only has Gentaro not been destroyed, but actually his Iron King persona has grown even stronger from this experience, and actually manhandles a giant monster all on its own for a change. So as their little spree has been over, they sit on top of a building, lament over what has all happened, and reflect upon it happily because things have actually turned out for the best. When Teiko, as her usual character problem portrays, reminds them that the Titans are not gone and they're still out there. As a matter of fact, Goro and Gentaro both remind her, hey, we like to take it easy. Besides, aren't they just right over there? So there's a big final fight. Gentaro gets inside the ship. Goro transforms into Iron King and saves Gentaro while also blowing up the enemy ship after he jumps back out, having defeated all of the evil Titan aliens. They are finally now allowed to rest and get a nice little finale that includes clips as far back as the original quarter of the series. All in all, this show is campy. Campy with a capital C. It's not bad, it's not horrible, it's just really campy. If you can't stand the campy 70s giant TV show monster thing, you're not going to really like it too much. But if you can enjoy the campiness of, like, say, original Doctor Who, you can get by and you'll love this show. As far as I'm concerned, this has been a great buy, and will be a show I'll remember quite fondly in the years to come, and possibly one to share with the kids. I might also add that with this, I also got another box set, Red Baron the Super Robot. Also created by TBS, that's the Tokyo Broadcasting Station. This is also yet another giant monster show that they were ushering in a lot of at the time. This will be a joy, but after reviewing one long TV show series, I think I've had enough for right now. So until then, I've got a few other projects to work on. I will keep this on the back burners. If enough interest is shown from Iron King, I'll come back to do Red Baron. Until then, have a good time and enjoy Iron King.
幻の緑求めてただ一人燃える小屋を幸せを知らぬ男が馬の背に揺られてゆくよ